What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Gearhead Guy Garage. Okay, in this episode, we're finally going to start working on that mobile workbench, and then hopefully I can go ahead and get the whole bench done today, and then I can also start incorporating all the tools into it, like the miter saw, the table saw, and then also I decided to add a router table to the design. So the router is going to go right in between the miter saw and the table saw, and I'll show you guys how that's going to go mounted up. I got a pretty good idea of how I can go ahead and make it adjustable from the top. So I'll show you guys how I'm planning on doing that. But first things first, let's get to building. All right, guys. So I just got back from the hardware store, and I'm sorry, you guys, if the audio is a little bit messed up. It is a little windy outside, so that's kind of hindering the audio. But anyhow, so I just finished getting all the material needed for the mobile workbench, and the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and just make sure that all the bottoms right here are perfectly square. It looks like they are. So the first thing I'm going to do is start. I'm going to start with the legs. Now the design calls for the legs to be 35.5 inches long. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting these with my circular saw, and then we can go ahead and get started on the rest. All right, guys. So I just finished cutting all the legs. I got four 35.5 inch legs, and then I also have two 22 and 5/8. All right. So now what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start notching these out. So as you can see, I have a notch right here that I have to cut out, and then also have another notch right here that has to be cut out on both sides right here. And this is so that the 2x4s can go ahead and slide in there. All right. So let me go ahead and start cutting these out, and then I'll show you guys how it came out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be using my circular saw to go ahead and make these cuts. So I'm just gonna go ahead and adjust the depth of the circular saw to 1.5 inches, which is the distance that it has to be taken out right here. All right, so I'm just gonna adjust it to 1.5 inches, and then I'll just start making several cuts. Once I'm done, I'll just go ahead and just knock them out, and then I'll just clean them up with the chisel. All right, guys. So as you can see, I just finished making the first notch. Now I'm working on the second one, and as you can see, all it is just several passes with the skill saw. I'm sorry, the circular saw, and that's pretty much it. Once you have all your cuts, all you gotta do is just go in with the hammer and just break them all off. All right, and then all you gotta do is just go in with the chisel and just clean it all up, and you're good. All right, guys. So as you can see, I went ahead and pre-cut everything. Last night I was able to finish up all the legs and then get everything pre-cut. The thing that took the longest were obviously the legs, just because of all the notches. But other than that, everything's already pre-cut, so now we can go ahead and start assembling everything according to the design. Now I'm going to be using wood glue and screws to go ahead and hold everything together. This way, everything is held together nice and tight. All right, you guys. So let's go ahead and let's get to building. All right, you guys, so I found my first mistake. And let me show you guys what happened. So when I was notching these woods, these 4x4s, I actually ended up making this notch for the 2x4. I ended up making it 2 inches too far up. So what I'm going to need to do now is I'm going to need to go ahead and notch this an additional 2 inches down to bring me to the correct height. And then the rest, I'll go ahead and fill that in with the 2x4 and just glue it in place. Now it's not going to sacrifice any of the structural integrity of the workbench. It's still going to be plenty strong, especially since it's going to end up being wrapped in plywood. So you're not going to be able to see it, but it just goes to show there's a perfect example of what happens when you're not double and triple checking your work as you're going along. All right, you guys. So learn from my mistakes. All right, you guys. So I got the main part of it framed up, and I ran into another problem. So as you can see, this notch right here is actually facing towards me when it actually is supposed to be facing just like this one. So that's actually another mistake, another thing that I wasn't paying attention to. And like I said, that's what happens when you don't double and triple check your work. So what I'm gonna have to do is go ahead and notch it from this side, and then what I'll do on this side is I'll go ahead and put in another filler piece and then just glue it in place. All right, guys. So I went ahead and corrected the notch on this side. As you can see, now they're both facing the same way. So the only thing left to do right here is just to go ahead and put in a filler piece. But I'm not going to go ahead and do that just yet. I'm going to wait until the entire thing is framed up. Then I'll go ahead and add in my filler piece right here, and then add in the other two filler pieces on that side. All right. So let's continue framing. All right, guys, so the framing of the workbench is finally complete. The only thing left to do is to start filling in all those notches that were incorrectly made. So we got one to fill in right there, one right there, and then one right there. So the way I'm going to fill in these two right here is I went ahead and just cut a piece of a 4x4, and I just notched out the center. So I'm just going to put that in just like those. It's going to drop in, and then I'm just going to add some glue in there, put some screws, one on each side, and then that right there should take care of that. All right, so let me go ahead and just let me go ahead and fill those in, and then we can start putting the tops on. All right, guys, so I just finished installing the casters on the mobile workbench, and as you can see, they're actually very easy to use. All you got to do is just go ahead and just pick it up like that, and it'll go ahead and drop the legs onto the floor. This way, when you're using it, it's not moving around on you. And then when you want to go ahead and move it, just go ahead and step on that, and then you can go ahead and move it around. So I went ahead and installed the tops, and then I put my table saw in there, my miter saw. I also screwed in my pocket hole jig. Got my vacuum in there. Again, the vacuum has to be plumbed, but that's going to be done another day only because I have to start working on the Humvee. So and then also I'm probably gonna have to redesign the way the casters are mounted back here. This is the back part of the mobile workbench, and the reason why is because the casters interfere with the footing of the garage. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. But again, that's gonna be done another day. And then another thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and maybe put some maybe put a strip of plywood right here, and then right there. This way I can go ahead and slide in this piece of wood whenever it's not in use. And that piece of wood is actually the top for right here. So whenever I want to go ahead and just cut plywood or anything like that, I can go ahead and just remove my miter saw and then put the top on there. This way, the woods will slide on there, and they won't get caught up on that edge right there. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for the mobile workbench for right now, until I get the rest done. But like I said, that'll be done at a later time. All right, guys. So I know I said I was going to go ahead and just stop working on the mobile workbench so I can start working on the Humvee. But you know what? I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? As soon as I start working on the Humvee, I'm not going to make time for anything else. So I just went ahead and just, got as much done on the mobile workbench as I possibly could. As a matter of fact, the only thing left to install on the mobile workbench is the router. So I already went ahead and installed the eaves. As you can see, they fold up and they're solid. Well, as much as you can get right now. What I'm gonna end up doing later on is probably just cutting either cutting a piece of 2x4, just as straight as possible, and just screwing it right here to the bottom, just to go ahead and straighten this one out. Because for whatever reason, this part of the plywood just kind of like bowled up a little bit. I don't know why. I don't know if I had it out for a day, so I don't know if that probably had something to do with it. But anyhow, so I got these done, and then I also went ahead and plumbed my vacuum system, and let me show you guys exactly what I did. All right, you guys. So this is how I routed my plumbing system for the vacuum. So I got one hose right there coming from my miter. Got my other one right there coming from the table saw. Everything is jointed right here with this rubberized T, and it just goes into the vacuum. So the T, I believe that's an inch and a half T. And then what I had to do right here for the table saw is I had to buy I believe it was a 2" to 1.5" reducer. And then what I did is I just went ahead and just cut off the 2" part since I didn't need it. And then the uh, the 1.5" part was just big enough to, well, actually just small enough to go ahead and slide right into that tube right there coming out of the table saw, and then I can go. And then I was able to go ahead and put the holes in there, and then just everything is just held on together with clamps, and works pretty good. Um, this this one right here, I could easily just take it off, and then I can go ahead and put attachments to it if I want to. And then I also bought um, an extra vacuum hose, in case I wanted to, vacuum around the mobile workbench. But what I am going to end up doing later on is figuring out some way to go ahead and cut off um, the vacuum from, like, say for example, I want to go ahead and use the miter saw, so I want to go ahead and get as much vacuum out of it as I possibly can. So in order for me to do so, I need to go ahead and uh, put a block right there so that it gets all the suction power from the vacuum, and then also vice versa. I mean, it does vacuum pretty good, but it's not as strong as I want it. All right, you guys, and then so the eaves right here are pretty much just held up with those hinges right there. I got one right there, two, three. Then I also got these ones right here holding it up, and then they're pretty sturdy. I mean, it's more than enough for cutting a piece of plywood. All right, so that's gonna do it for the mobile workbench. I'm just gonna go ahead and set it aside and then start working on the Humvee. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for today's video, and I want to give a special thanks to my two assistants, Gearhead Girl and Gearhead Boy.
Thank you for tuning in today's video, and
make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with others, and turn on those notifications.
comment down below. Gearhead Guy
Out!